Alright guys, we are back with a top 10. I know you guys like top 5s and top 10s, and I love doing them. And this time I brought a friend, Omnibus Ryan. He is one of my favorite YouTubers because basically he gets to go into a deep dive on X-Men characters, usually mostly mutants. And these characters are somewhat I'm interested in, and I've read them recently, but I don't really like reading the Claremont era just because there's so much to read and I'll never get to it. So these videos have been amazing. Plus, he does nice in-depth reviews of omnibuses, ones that I'm interested in, and I actually did buy one after I watched his review. So check his channel out if you want those. And we're about to get into one of my favorite lists of the year. It is the top 10 omnibuses that are coming out, mostly 2022. I don't think any of these are 2023, but if I'm wrong, you know, things get pushed back. That's just life. Anyway, we're about to get into our list, and let's see what omnibuses we're looking forward to most, and then you guys list yours below of ones that you can't wait to get your hands on.
So if you know anything about me or my channel, you'll know that I'm a huge comic fan, obviously, but I'm mostly an X-Men fan, and I've been working my way through Claremont's original 16-year run and all his spin-off series for the past 2 years. One of the storylines I read most recently was X-Men Mutant Massacre, which was such a phenomenal and tragic book, and Fall of the Mutants is the follow-up to that event, so I'm excited to see how our merry band of mutants deal with their losses and potentially the further losses to come. I've also heard there's a lot of focus on Storm in this book, who is one of the greatest comic book characters ever created in my opinion, and then also tied in with her story is some Forge content, who's a mutant who I feel doesn't get the spotlight he deserves sometimes. He's a Native American Vietnam War vet who has the mutant ability to create any piece of technology essentially, and if you know anything about X-Men and maybe the storyline Life Death, then you know that him and Storm have some interesting history, so I'm excited to see how that plays out. And I just love these mutant event books because you get a little taste of all the teams at the time. Like, there will be X-Men content in here, there will be New Mutants content in here, there will be X-Factor content in here. You really just get a little bit of everything.
All right, so coming in at number 5 is Moon Knight by Houston and Benson and Hurwitz, I believe. This is a big omnibus. This is a multiple run, or I should say multiple writers in one run, and that happens often, but I've never seen an omnibus quite collected like this. But either way, it makes me very excited. This is a run that I only read bits and pieces here and there when I was younger, maybe a volume here, a volume there, and I'm actually really excited just to read it all the way through. This is the hyper-violent Moon Knight, so some people love it, some hate it, but this is actually what I am looking forward to most in the Moon Knight era that they're releasing, because they are releasing the volume 2 of the original stuff, which I am actually looking forward to now that I'm reading volume 1. And then they're also releasing a complete collection of the ones they just released, like Jeff Lemire and Legacy and all that. So Moon Knight's just getting a lot of love, but this is one run that I didn't read much of, and I'm very excited to get through it, and it's coming out very soon, hopefully at the end of this month if it doesn't get pushed back.
Another omnibus I'm really anticipating is the New Warriors Omnibus Volume 2. So my advice would be, of course, to read Volume 1 first, and it's still available, very easy to get, so you should definitely go pick that up, but the spot for Volume 2 on this list should be an indication of how good I think this series really is. The creators of this book basically took a bunch of characters from other books that maybe weren't getting their time in the spotlight and put them into one team here, the New Warriors. That team consists of Marvel Boy, Firestar, Nova, Namorita, Speedball, Night Thrasher, and some other heroes who join in along the way. But this is a comic book run that I wouldn't have really ever thought to pick up, but a friend recommended it to me, and so I'm recommending it to you. This is a really well-written story. It captures the youthful energy of the team perfectly, while also balancing it with the very real life and emotionally thorough situations they encounter, and there's a huge twist in the first omnibus, and it'll be really thrilling to see how the rest of the story plays out in the second book. Plus, as always, I've gotta rep my mutants on the team, who are Marvel Boy and Firestar. If you're a big fan of teams that have a dynamic similar to the Fantastic Four, or really any of the big mutant books, then this is one that I would highly recommend you picking up.
My next one is going to be Doom Patrol by Rachel Polak, I think is her name. And this is really exciting to me because I didn't read much Doom Patrol. I read the recent stuff and I enjoyed it. I did go back and read Grant Morrison's a few years ago, and I read some of it, and I didn't love it, but I liked it. I feel like I have to collect that too, but that has already been released and out for a while now. But I have not read any of Rachel's stuff, and I looked up, and people really say that she had a great follow-up to Grant Morrison, which is, you know, big shoes to fill for a lot of people. So I'm really excited to see this. I'm also think, I could be wrong, I think she's the only female writer on Doom Patrol ever, which is also really weird. I mean, come on. But yeah, I'm really excited to check this out. It seems to have that same weirdness that Grant Morrison's run had. So if you like that, this is probably should be on your radar. It's also one of the cheaper omnibuses on my list, only at $100. And come on, guys, you know you can get that cheaper on other sites. Let's be honest. I'll go over it at the end of where to pick these up. But yeah, I'm very excited to try this out because I would be going in completely blind, never read any of this, and it would be exciting.
Guys, it's clobbering time, and that's because this next omnibus is a character-focused omnibus, and not one I ever really thought we'd get, but I guess we're kind of in the golden age of Marvel omnibus books, and the book I'm talking about and really looking forward to is, of course, the Thing omnibus. The ever-loving, blue-eyed Thing is maybe my favorite member of the Fantastic Four, and he's the one who, in my opinion, has the most tragic story and is the most effective literary metaphor, and if you read any of his notorious stories like This Man, This Monster, I think you'll probably be on the same page as me with that opinion. But a lot of people don't know that aside from his Fantastic Four appearances, and his appearances pretty much everywhere else in Marvel, he had his own 36-issue solo series written by John Byrne, and John Byrne is an author that really understands the Fantastic Four characters and does a great job at the individual depiction of the Thing, and his series is such a fun way to flesh out the character even more. Yancey Street, Doctor Doom, the rest of the Fab Four, She-Hulk, the Rhino, and more are all in this book, and I think this is going to be a really awesome pickup for the year.
All right, and so my next one is Young Avengers. Now, I've read Young Avengers when I was really young. I know, there's the pun. Is that a pun? I don't know if it's a pun. Anyway, I read it when I was really young, and I read the first volume, and it was okay. I didn't really love it, but I also feel like I wasn't in that mindset to read this. You know, I was just coming into New Avengers, which was like over-the-top action from Bendis, and Ultimate Spider-Man, and Ultimate X-Men, so it was a very different style from those. However, I am really interested to get to this. A lot of people hold this up as one of the best runs for like the young team type comics, you know, so like New Warriors, oh my gosh, Teen Titans, Titans in general. So I'm excited to check this out. It looks a lot of fun. It comes out hopefully next month, which would be June. Who knows, though, with these release dates. But yeah, this is really cool. This is the first time it's been collected ever. So this is a new print, just like the Doom Patrol. And I'm really excited to check this out. The art looks great. The omnibus is a little bigger than I expected, but a little smaller than I expected. But I think that's because in the solicitations, they kind of just say, like, the Crusade, which I think is like 9 issues. So it looks like it's just 1, but it's not. So yeah, I'm really excited to check this one out because I only read volume 1, and this was like, I'm talking about like almost 20 years ago. So yeah, this is an exciting one to try out again.
The next omnibus I'm looking forward to is one for a character I thought we'd never get because they were just not releasing any runs from this guy whatsoever, and it made no sense to me because I really wanted some. But finally we're getting a Black Panther omnibus, and it's the famous run by Christopher Priest. There's so much intrinsically interesting about Black Panther as a character. I mean, how does one balance being a king and being a warrior and being a symbol for your people, and how do you do all that as ethically as you can? Priest's run on the character is one that takes all of that into account, and it also deals with the kind of bureaucracy of running a nation and interweaves that into the story in a really satisfying way. If you're a fan of the Black Panther movie, or if you're somebody who wants to learn more about the character, then this is going to be a great book for you, as Priest's Black Panther run is one of those famed comic book runs that really puts a character on the map, or at least back into play again with the big boys. And this isn't the only Black Panther omnibus we're getting this year, so I think it's going to be a really exciting year for Black Panther fans who've been long awaiting Marvel to print some of the storylines in omnibus format.
All right, and you know I had to have Predator on here because I've been loving the Alien omnibuses. Well, I loved Volume 1. Volume 2 was here and there. It had some amazing stories, but one really long, boring story. Maybe I'll do a review on that one day. But Predator Omnibus 1 is very exciting to me because I love Predator almost as much as I love Alien. I think it's a great franchise, great sci-fi, and I'm really excited to jump into these comics. Now, I did read one of these stories in my old Predator omnibuses from Dark Horse, which are very small in comparison, and it was good. I liked it. I also wasn't reading comics from the 80s that much, so it was a little different for me. But now that I'm reading more comics from the 80s, I'm actually really excited to jump in. These are like direct sequels to the movies, which is very exciting to me. And then the new series of Predator comes out this year too, finally, from Ed Brisson, so I'm very excited for that. But yes, I am so excited to collect this, read this, and put it right next to my Alien collection because I absolutely love these two franchises.
My most anticipated omnibus isn't that big of a surprise considering what a fan of X-Men I am, but I'm most looking forward to Extreme X-Men Omnibus Volume 1. This book has really just sparked my curiosity because Claremont left the X-Men in the 90s, but Extreme X-Men is Claremont coming back to the title in a more modern setting, and I'm excited to see what he does with his beloved characters whose paths may have slightly deviated from when he was writing the book. I also know that this deals a little bit with the Destiny Diaries, which are basically precognitive predictions written out by Destiny that have been seen a few times in the background and as a plot point during the current Krakoa era of X-Men. And I believe this takes place around the same time that Grant Morrison's new X-Men does, E is for Extinction, so the characters that are missing from that book like Storm, Psylocke, and Rogue are actually in this book doing their own thing on their own team, so I'm really excited to see what they've been up to. I'm also really looking forward to just adding another book to my X-Men collection. I'm always looking to flesh out my X-Men collection, and even though maybe not all the runs deserve it, I hope that they keep on printing the X-Men runs in oversized formats so that I can have such a comprehensive X-Men bookshelf. And of course, it's always very special, like with this book, when it's an X-Men book written by Chris Claremont. So I cannot wait to read Extreme X-Men, and I hope it's called Extreme X-Men because it's extremely well written.
And probably my most hyped one is Spider-Man 2099. And I think the reason I am so excited for this one is because I didn't read any of this, really. I read maybe an issue, here or there on like a reading order list, but I did never read this. And it's by Peter David, who I'd say about 80% of his stuff I really enjoyed, being the two big ones, Hulk and some of Spider-Man, actually. But I've never read much of his Spider-Man 99. Now, he has two Spider-Man 99 runs. He has this one and then one in the mid-2000s. So I'm thinking if this sells well, we will get the 2000s run, which I heard is actually pretty good as well. So that's exciting. So, saying that, this is Miguel, and he's a different Spider-Man, well, he's in the future, obviously, 2099, which is so crazy to me because it's not that far in the future now. We're in 2023. I mean, it's still far, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, this is exciting because I love like Otherworld or Future World stuff, usually if it's done well. And this had, I believe, over 30 issues. It's going to be a pretty hefty omnibus. That makes me excited because that means they put some thought and process into creating something like this world for Miguel and the storyline. So, very excited for this. I think it's going to be great. It comes out very late this year, I believe November or December. And yeah, who isn't excited to read more Spider-Man? This is Spider-Man's 60th year, I believe, which is absolutely insane when I think about it. But yeah, I am very excited to read this book and check it out. All right, guys, and that's our list. I really hope you enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun making it. Obviously, we all have different opinions on what we want to read. Ryan here is definitely bigger into the mutant world and X-Men, which is great because that I feel like is its own section in Marvel, which is amazing. As you can see, there's probably not too many DC ones. I think a lot of DC that's coming out are reprints, and I am very excited for Batman and Robin. That's one of my favorite storylines in DC, so I am going to buy that. But as far as new, not much except for Doom Patrol's Rachel's Doom Patrol. That's the one that really got me excited. Mostly Marvel's just pumping them out, and I'm excited to read a lot of these. But like I said earlier, these are our opinions. What about you guys? There's a lot of books coming out. They could be reprints, they could be new, it could be whatever you want. As long as it's been announced that it's coming out, whether it's this year or very, very early next year, they started already announcing them. Check it out. And if you guys are interested in collecting omnibuses, well, obviously I'll always tell you to go to your comic book store first. They usually can order it, and sometimes they can even give you a deal, which is great. You can ask them, work with them. However, some comic stores aren't great, and so if they're not towards you, and for whatever reason, you can order these on the different websites like In Stock Trades, Cheap Graphic Novels, and then Organic Price Books. Those are the three sites I mostly use for omnibuses. You can also use Amazon. Once in a while, they'll have a good deal, but those three are obviously more independent, and they need your money more than Amazon, trust me. But anyway, you can check those sites out, and if you guys like this video, thank you so much. Hit that little like button. You can subscribe too. I always like that. New guys coming on and watching, or girls, sorry. Didn't mean to just say guys. Anybody can watch my stuff and check out more of my videos coming out soon. Have a good day.